first town board meeting that I sat down at, that I believe that this is a discussion about fighting the usual urge of government to get bigger, to get more expensive, and to get more intrusive into people's lives. And I also believe that it's about protecting private property rights. This town, I believe, did things terrifically for a 20-year period and did a good job. And the position that we had apparently was called the executive secretary for the planning department. It appears to be the position that Kathy Hall had. I believe that the planner position was created when folks knew that Kathy Hall was leaving, and I believe that instead of having a discussion back then about what type of person should have been replacing Kathy Hall, or what type of position, that discussion wasn't had. So that's probably the discussion that we're having right now. And I still believe that the rules are already set up in the legislation, and that we don't need somebody to fill in the cracks, a person with a discretionary position filling in cracks that aren't there. I believe that all of us, developers, the town, the planning board, the professionals, can look at the rules. The rules are pretty straightforward, and then people have previous notice of what they can do with their property, what they can't. We don't need somebody filling in. What we need is somebody facilitating for folks. When somebody comes in with an application, help them through the process. The planning board can certainly fill in any of the holes that might be deficiencies in the planning or zoning code, but we don't need a professional doing it. I believe that replacement, if we need personnel doing the work, I believe somebody along the lines of what Kathy Hall is already doing is the appropriate person. Of the items that the town supervisor provided to us, the executive secretary of planning department, I read the description pretty thoroughly, and that is pretty much the job that Kathy Hall was doing. And I think that of all of those descriptions, that makes the most sense for the person that we might need in that position.
You do have a person in that position. Lucy Hall is in that position.
I understand that.
So you would say that we don't need to fill in, just leave Lucy in that position and not hire anyone?
I'm willing to discuss that, because those are part of things that I don't think we've ever, in none of our discussions ever got to, whether we need one person in the office or two people. I remember going back when I was the planning and zoning board attorney, that Sue Baldwin had been hired, I believe. I don't know what her specific title was, but she was effectively the zoning board secretary. And it was my understanding that she was essentially training to eventually replace Kathy Hall. And I believe she's been in that position in the office for 5 or 7 years and has probably developed the expertise. So you have homegrown talent that could probably slide right into a position of executive secretary, replacing what we have. If we think that we need two people in the office, I don't see why we couldn't have two executive secretaries, one that's working with the planning board, one that's working with the zoning board. Maybe they have overlapping duties. What I really want to stay away from is somebody with discretionary authority. And the one thing I will disagree with, and it was a hard-fought battle with votes we had at the town board, changing the description of the planner. We transferred the title of director of planning back to Keith Mans. He's our institutional member. He's been around for a long time. I know that he's done a professional job at it for a long time. And we made that previous planner position reportable to Keith for a reason, because we thought that should not be a discretionary reason. And I'm really not willing to go backwards from that. I think Keith is the appropriate director of planning engineering.